Speaking of that, though, something
You have hard ass.
There's all of that too, giggity. Something else that'll probably be making, don't quote me, but top 5, if not top 3 this year. Keeper also has released this past week, this last Friday, an Xbox Game Pass available for $30. Otherwise, currently only Xbox and Steam. Newest title from Double Fine. Our first release since Psychonauts in 2021, so 4-year gap in between one of the couple smaller projects they have started since that game finished wrapping up production. I'm going to give it to you first, because you only got a little time into it. Initial thoughts before I got some thoughts. I got some emotions about Keeper.
Yeah, I saw your tweet this morning. I said, oh man, I'm glad I hopped off of this game. I put about I was streaming it, got barely an hour, maybe even less, and then my internet cut out, and I kind of was dealing with that. And I was going to keep playing, I was going to, and I was like, I just didn't want to. While playing it, and I was thinking about it. I was like, is this because I was trying to stream it at the same time? But ultimately, I was like, nah, it's not the type of game I want right now. Right away, though, visually, stunning, looks beautiful. I can only imagine later on in the game what they start to do, because, they gotta give you something to look at later on. So yeah, I can imagine it looks stunning. You posted some screenshots in the Discord, and yeah, it looks beautiful. It's a very, very pretty game. The gameplay and such reminded me, not like direct comparison, but in vibes, I was like, okay, this kind of like Cocoon. Okay. I loved Cocoon, a puzzle game, no dialogue. You're just doing stuff. You're doing the world. And I just fell in love with that game. And I kind of could see that in Keeper. There seems to be more character story with the bird and such right away than Cocoon, but like in terms of walking around and kind of just solving stuff, I was like, oh, okay, cool. So I'm not completely turned off of this game. It's something I plan on going back to, but it's not something I'm looking for right now. I'm missing Assassin's Creed Shadows. I miss just being in that world, exploring. People are taking photos in GoTY, and I'm like, oh, I could do stuff too if and I'm like, oh darn, looking for that Switch 2 port. That's crazy if it comes to that. That's going to be fun to look at.
Just do a replay.
I will 100% Ubisoft. I will fully play that game again on Switch 2. I really fell in love. I am planning to replay all the Assassin's Creed. It sucks that they got rid of the person who's been with the franchise for so long. That's scary. 3 times. Anyways, tangent. Yeah, so I'll go back to Keeper at some point. It's just not the game I'm actively wanting to play right now. I was falling asleep, and I was like, I'm not tired though. Just like, I'm not. Unfortunately, not for me, because everything I've seen, it seems like people are really connecting with it. Really liking it.
Keeper, for me, again, going in, Double Fine, chill, whatever. I love most of their projects they do, going back to old days.
Give me the Tim Schafer money. Come on. You got paid.
Tim. No, Keeper for me is a game about grief and acceptance and adapting to uncontrollable things in your life and realizing the beauty in mundane things you otherwise wouldn't. Xbox Wire posted the day this came out on Friday, personal letter, so to say, from Lee Petty, who was sort of the lead developer on this. Been around forever, been with Tim for years. He says in the opening dialogue, Keeper was inspired by the events of the last few years. Like most, I thought a lot about isolation and connection with others. I've also been into hiking, backpacking, and spending the time outdoors with my family. During the pandemic, it became even more important to me. I wondered if the wildlife around me would be all that is left in the future. Would it continue to develop, to evolve? I thought of the mycelium, the vast underground networks that connect fungi, and how they are used by trees to share nutrients and communicate with each other. And that first, like reading that after
I gotta play
playing,
this game.
I tell you, reading that.
Okay, I'm not gonna interrupt that.
Reading that after rolling credits now this morning, you see all those fine threads. You see the pain and uneasiness and not being sure about things in those times of being alone, and everything was connected kind of emotionally and through computers and through these varying waves of communication and keeping your own hopes and spirits alive. Like you see that in the game, um, which is a beautiful thing considering one of the main points that everyone's had contention with is that there's no dialogue. There's not a single word of text, not a
I love
single
that.
not a single word of written dialogue. You will find in this game everything is done through music and sound cues and little sound chirps from the bird and these other creatures that are inhabiting these areas you're going through. The lighthouse you are playing as has, they gave him like little metal eyebrows essentially to help convey his emotions and his fears and worry and stuff like that. Like that all comes across so beautifully. And the game throughout its time, I'm not going to go spoilery here because it's something like people that are invested at it at the start will be pleasantly surprised, but the way they evolve, the basic running around childlike wonder of exploration and the very simple puzzles, which I have no issue with. Again, I don't think this game required notebook and pen to figure out what's happening and continue on. But the way it naturally evolves and turns into something more, I was just, the second time I was shocked. Like genuinely, like I would not see the direction this took coming from a mile away. It's just an experience that I wish Xbox would have marketed more. I fully feel if this was an indie studio project that came up, this would be this year's like Gone Home or one of the walking simulators that just takes the industry by storm for a month. Like this deserves that kind of attention. And is giving it the time of day that to appreciate the story they've built with no words spoken. To that effect, special shout out to the achievements. I saw you got 2 of them, so it's fine to talk about. What isn't given to you in story in game is given to you through that. And it's something I don't remember seeing in any game ever before. Which is funny because just playing Silent Hill F, my girlfriend asked me, she's like, why are there so many secret achievements if you can just unveil what it is right away? And I'm like, some people do it Easter eggs, some people have a little fun message, whatever. And then the very next thing I start is Keeper, and it's this history deep dive that is tied to monuments you're finding in game. Again, just a beautiful blend of being outside of it, looking in, and experiencing it through the lighthouse and the birds perspective, kind of combining. It's just a really unique, fun thing. I will never be able to not stop speaking highly about this game. Like,
yeah,
just a masterpiece.
Is the story presented, discovered similarly, obviously different, but in Jasant, you're like covering stuff from before? You're kind of just like, oh, something's happened here. Maybe I'm off with what I remember about Jasant.
No, not to that direct of effect. There are similar things. The real trailer it showed, like you're going through city ruins that may still be inhabited by some things, but it's not like as keyed in. It leaves a lot of things open to imagination and how things transpire. The ending, especially how it ends, could be kind of anticlimactic for some because it's not a direct you solved anything or this is fixed or you found this thing. Like it is open to your interpretation through your experience.
I love that though. Yeah, you can. I mean, it's definitely something I want to get back to, especially you reading that. first paragraph from that Lee Petty article or whatever you pulled it from. That is so just what I've known and with my background and what I used to do. Just like, oh, I get that. Like, obviously we all have this experience too, but some of the stuff he touched on, I was like, oh shoot, that's I understand that. I used to live and hike for a living, you know? Yeah, it makes sense. That's really cool. So it is, and then like I love something that is up for interpretation, up to what you take. They are presenting something to you and saying here, and that's it. And that's like really cool. So I can commend that. And it sounds like they do that fully. And whether that hits is up to you, if it vibes with you or not. And that's just to each one's own interest, right? But hell yeah, that's kind of what this felt like it was going to be. And it's cool to see that at least is hitting hard in some way, at least for you.
It was. I was full sobbing this morning at 10 o'clock on a Sunday. Like I had tears, and it was not something I wasn't expecting, because being able to build those connections with the characters with that boundary in place of, we're not talking to you, we're not telling you our story directly, we're not doing this, like to still convey those emotions and what it means for their journey, like just so good. And like you said, back to the art, like there's parts where they'll give you a side path and it just leads to like an overlook to look at backdrop they painted and colored or whatever. Like they want you to appreciate it, and it does such great detail for things like when there's a part where you're going through a canyon and it's just blues, purples, and oranges, like painting the different layers in the rock. But you look at it more and it looks like a water-based painting, where the blues are like soaking down through the other colors, like fading off of it. Like just the detail in it is so wonderful. Like it looks like when you see concept art of a game, like the concept art, it was the finished project where it's not quite right. Everything's not quite pristine, but it just looks so great still. Like just great. I can't wait for the next day. Again, Double Fine them all and all the time, but I feel the game
be a hit for you.
Yeah. I feel the game's kind of being misjudged, because it is a weird spot where, coming off Psychonauts 2, Game of the Year contender for many, Game of the Year for many, including myself, being this big, open, 3D action adventure epic, and then to turn around and do this, I feel some people were expecting more, which is doing more harm than good. But on that end, I tweeted about this too. I feel Keeper is the quintessential Xbox Game Pass experience. When you go back to those initial Phil Spencer interviews of wanting Game Pass to be this curated place for teams to do their passion things without the worry of finances or closures or trying to stay with industry norms and what's popular, and being able to have that safety net to chase after those things, this is the definition of what that is. And watching their documentary they did for Psychonauts 2 and seeing how much finances and trying to get funding and trying to stay open has been their Double Fine's identity for so long, to have that taken away and be safe, so to speak, with Xbox, you don't know, but to be safe finally, and this is their first thing after that, hell yeah. Like, more of this. Don't kill yourselves on a major thing like that again if you don't want to. Like, keep doing these small things, because it's wonderful, and it's just as good, if not a better experience, as what that AAA action game could have been.
Well, they do a AAA big game, and this is part of the game, and these are different levels where you are the lighthouse doing something, right? Like and that's fine, but then people go, oh, why is this here? It's not enough. Or, oh, they should have put more time into this, like Doom. The mech stuff, the flying stuff in the new Doom was like, all right, like they could have put more, they could have taken it out, right? I'm totally fine for a studio being able to do something smaller scope, really, really specific, and they do that in a tight package. That's what they want. Again, it doesn't do everything because it's a tight scope that isn't going to kill the studio. And when you have a platform to put games on that you're going to get some level of investment, no matter what, that's, pretty solid. I mean, I jumped in and I wouldn't have bought it, right? And like, that's just how that business works for them. We have to, like, that's just the reality. And I think they're happy with that. So I think I agree. I think it is a really awesome thing that this has come out. And this is a sign, I think, of what Xbox is going to continue to do, coming off of South of Midnight as well, like these smaller titles. Really specific type of things, right? That we wouldn't get 5 years ago. We wouldn't get 3 years ago. We might not get ever again. So I'm happy we're getting these type of things, and I can't wait to dive more into it because it sounds. I hope it hits me, and I hope I can latch onto it. I hope I break past that.
For experience too, I checked my time just now. Main story, I went back to 2 chapters to get 2 collectibles I missed for the full 1,000. Just under 8 hours for the whole thing. So
Oh hell yeah!
And more small games, killing it.
Yeah, I love that. That's a great thing. Great thing. Now, do you think this means they'll have a similar size, a little bigger thing coming up sooner or late, like sooner than we think? I guess my question is, do you think they stick to a smaller scope like this, or do you think like a Psychonauts 3 is something they're working towards, or scope of that, maybe not direct sequel?
Unless plans have changed, in the in the documentary they mentioned they are working on other projects, and one of the level designers who was featured in Psychonaut responded to me on Twitter one time and straight up said that when that was filmed, they had 2 smaller projects in the works. So you would assume this is one of them, one more coming after, and then if the team went off to do another massive thing, I don't think it's going to be a Psychonauts 3. I think that story is pretty much wrapped, unless they wanted to drag it out, but I would worry about that landing now. But yeah, let them do another big thing. Like a lot of people online hope has been Brutal Legend 2, which would be killer.
Oh shit. That'd be awesome.
They still
get Jack Black.
He was in Psychonauts 2. He's totally down.
Yeah, 100%. He's already in.
They still reference it all the time. They still celebrate. They call it
it's coming.
Yeah, they still call it something like Rocktober, where back when Brutal Legend came out, a couple games were doing it where it was like, here's an achievement for being killed by a developer, facing a developer. Tim Schafer still gets on. I just got my achievement this year, actually on the 13th, of playing a match against him or someone who has it. So like, they're still interacting with that community and putting stuff out there for those fans, which that's the thing with Microsoft money I think could happen now, to get the metal legends back, to get new wave metal singers in, and like that new wave artist would be really, really dope.
That is get Chapel Roan some of her covers on. Oh my god. Like her singing Barracuda on this thing. Shit.
The possibilities are endless.
I'm telling you. Wow. Yeah, that's really cool. That is, again, that's like such a Game Pass style thing where it might be for you, it might not be, but it's a catalog. It fills out the breadth of the platform. And yeah, invest in I'm so down for a Brutal Legend thing. We need something like that. That just feels like the type of games we're moving towards again. And you don't have to make it a 40 to 50 hour realistic graphics, like super expensive thing. It just needs to be what it is. And Xbox has the ecosystem to like support that now. And yeah, I think Double Fine also is a studio that can get that. I'm so down for that.
So good.
Reply to that man. Reply to that developer. Say do it.
Oh,
I know he said something else, but tell him Brutal Legend 2.
He's not there anymore, but
okay, don't tell him. Don't tell him. That's
it's good. Like even when I got that achievement last week, like I hopped in, I was like checking out where I was in the story because I never beat it. I need to go back, and I was like, this still like
you were playing Brutal Legend last week.
Yeah, it's still a fun mix of like action hack and slash, but RTS elements, like just a weird hodgepodge. I'm down.
That is like that sounds like a great stream game.
Copyrighted all shit probably, but yeah. The Twitch gods
I'm thinking,
down.
That's true. No, they'd solve that. They would do it. Nah, you're right. Never mind.